We're back in the studio today, aka bedroom, doing some airbrushing. We got this from our friend at Wicked Mutters All-Wheel Drive. It's a Facebook group that kind of goes out, goes wheeling, hangs out, does holidays together, and a whole bunch of other fun stuff. It's a little club we belong to. And the main girl wants this painted to look similar to what she has on her Jeep, even though this is a International or Bronco or Scout. I don't know. You guys let me know in the comments. But we're gonna make this Range Rover. These windows, I'm thinking Range Rover. Sorry. All right, so we're gonna basically do some skulls on it, because that's what she has on her Jeep. She has a Jeep with kind of skull. I think the theme of her Jeep is Scully. So if you guys follow me on Facebook, you saw I did a little test for my eyes. We did a little skull we were practicing. So that's actually be a good size for where she has it on her Jeep. She just has like a vinyl decal, I think it is, of a skull right here. So she wants this to be silver like her Jeep. Her Jeep is silver. I don't know if her hardtop is silver or black. I'll find that out. But I'm going to go ahead and mask as much as I can. It's not going to be a easy mask job. It's going to take some time. And first off, I got to take the desert off of it, because evidently this was out playing in the desert. And this job is going to be kind of a quickie, but at the same time, you know, I don't understand that going slow. And well, I understand the going slow, but taking small amount of time or something like that on something, I like to do it right. If it takes a little extra time, it takes a little extra time. So we got to clean this up real good so we can mask. Some of these areas, I don't know how we'll mask. I think we may end up spraying everything kind of silver and then going back and respraying the black, or brushing in the black or something like that. Because a lot of these items are stuff that I would take off, but I don't know if we know how to take them off. Nope, they just pull off. Well, that'll make it easier. All right. One thing I do have to make sure is that I put it all back together when we get done, so she's not missing any parts. And she took some stuff off. She took a lot of stuff off, actually. So we're going to have to remember what we take off and put that back on. So now, if you notice, I'm wiping off the inside of this, because I'm going to backmask all this. I'm going to wrap all this probably in a trash bag or something. Those little tiny trash bags work really good for masking off stuff. The other thing that works good is aluminum foil. Like if you're doing engine compartments and stuff like that, aluminum foil will stick to everything and work out good. So some of the stuff might be glued on. That's why she didn't take it off. But I'm going to go ahead and wipe this all down. Now, what's kind of neat about this one, it's not good for the fact of durability on RC cars, but the way this is painted from the outside, it makes it a lot easier on the painter. You're not trying to paint reverse. So we're going to have to put some really good high durability clear on it. So I use some of my automotive urethane clears on it, and that'll make it really well. So we're gonna have to sand some of this off. It looks like she already flipped it over. All right, time to start masking. Now I like doing fine line around all the tight areas. This one's probably going to require glasses and everything else because, like I said, it's pretty small. I would have pulled the grill off, but the grill, there's headlights and circuit boards and everything else kind of put on afterwards. So we can't do that. Since I'm cleaning stuff, I might as well be able to see out of both my eyes instead of just one of them. So we did a project with her one time, and we painted a little car. We painted a kind of a decent amount of cars for her. The cars we're painting are like Barbie, you know, the Barbie Jeeps and those electric kid cars that they have. We painted a couple of those, and we painted one that she called Shark Bite, or I might have called it. And we did a whole bunch of sharks all over it. The kid was really into sharks, but something turned up to where the kid didn't get the car for some reason. I think their parents, something went weird. But she had that car to go and show people what we did to these cars, these little cars. And from what I understand, that's what she's doing with this. We're going to basically, this is going to take over Shark Bite. So it's not going to be exactly the same, but because those are a lot bigger and I could get a lot more detail on them. But this we'll have fun with. But they're good people over there at the all-wheel drive club. They do a lot for children, which is awesome. Well, as you can see, a lot has changed. We painted it silver. We sanded it down. We used a red Scotch-Brite pad. We sanded it all down. Then I used my sandblast cabinet and lightly sandblasted it. Then we shot the silver on it and clear coated it. And now we've sanded the clear coat. And I started sketching on the artwork for it, which is going to be some skull and bones because the car is called Scully. So we're going to do that. And what I did was, for the artwork, I drew it out the size I wanted to draw it, 8.5 by 11. And then I put it into the computer, scanned it, and shrunk it down to the size that I needed. Then I printed that out, and then I was able to use transfer paper and transfer the design onto there. And I just do the outline, kind of the bare bones of what I need. No pun intended with bones. I just basically have an outline of what I need. Not really too into the detail of it because we're going to be going over it anyway, so why spend a whole bunch of time with detail? Okay, we're going to go in with white first. I like going in with a lighter color first because you can kind of sketch it out a little bit and play with it more than if you go in with a dark color. Now this I'm going to way over reduce. Now this has the horns on it, on the front cap, air cap, and I usually don't like that. But I think we'll be okay. Gotta put on glasses just to see this thing. I might have this a little bit too thin. So what I can do is drop the pressure down a little bit. Right there I was at 15. Let's drop down to 10. Let's see what that does. So this is very hard to see. but we'll be able to get it. I can start working on it with a paintbrush and other stuff, but I wanted to at least get the white kind of background done. Plus, this lets me know how small it is, so I know what I'm dealing with when I go with the airbrush. I know where the airbrush can get to and what it can't. Now I got the pressure turned way down. I think I'm 10 pounds of pressure. And I have it way reduced down. You can only spray this pressure if you way over reduce it. This is the underlining colors. I'm going to start working grays in. And I'm going to do some brush work. We're going to play with this side first, and then we'll switch over to the other side. So I'm going to leave the white in there. Now I think my palette's going to be right here just on the glass table. So I'm just going to go in and work kind of the dark areas, even though this is not the darkest color that I'm going to be using. I want to work the dark areas first. Kind of get a flow for the brush and see what it's going to look like. Now this just has one skull on it. The other designs that I've done have multiples. But this will kind of give us an idea of how it's going to look. Now I'm painting in base coats, so they dry really fast. So it's something to think about. I'm using medium reducer, and I might switch over to slow. You have to dip the brush in reducer every time you load it. Not an easy car to work on. This is allowing me also to get rid of the lines and start working in some of the shadows. Back in the 80s, we wouldn't use paintbrushes. An airbrush artist would say that's cheating. We were kind of all against using anything other than an airbrush. Now it's almost any tool that works, let's use it. That's why I never got into using brushes. I wish I had. Because in reality, it's just another tool. Like people say, most customers don't care how you get it on there as long as it's on there. Okay, now we can go in a little darker. Sorry, sometimes it can be really hard to film this because I'm going to have to turn the car to work with me. I still have white in the airbrush, so I'm going to go ahead and just kind of go over everything a little bit with the white. Kind of soften it up a little bit. Now come in with that same dark color. All right, now I think I'll go in. The white will add a little bit of black to it. And we'll start doing some of the darker shadows on it. Let's turn up the air pressure a little bit. Got some slow reducer on there still. Okay, I'm going to swap out airbrushes. I'm going to go in a little darker. Okay. Now this is that medium gray again. So now I'm going to go in, kind of soften the highlight areas. Kind of build up the midtones a little more. And now we'll mix up some white. I think I'll keep that one that way. Okay, let's work on this big part of the bone. I'm getting a little tip dry. Might still be a little bit too thick for this pressure. All right, I'm going to go ahead and go in with the brush and hit some of the darker areas just to kind of bring them out a little bit more. Just getting the darkest of the shadows now, and then we'll come back in with some white and maybe some airbrush stuff just to kind of make sure it's all kind of blended in. Now I'm just adding like a whole bunch of little tiny dots to kind of add texture to it. Get texture in that bone. Okay. Clean up my brush a little bit and get into this white. I don't want to do pure white because it'll look way too stark. So I'm going to mix up kind of a medium gray. So I'm just going to go along the top edge of the bones. Technically there wouldn't be a black outline around them, but because we want them to pop a little bit, we throw a little black outline in there and kind of make it look like it's supposed to be there. Now what's cool is we could always come in with a little bit of a black and kind of knock all this down. And this is art. There's no right and wrong. There's whatever you want to do. one of those, it's your story, tell it however you want. Alright, I'm going to go pure white on it now. Let's see what that looks like. See if that gets a little too bright. But I just want to make sure certain areas pop out a little more. Right, I want to clean up the the paintbrush a little bit. And I want to go back in with that black, or dark gray. Sorry I don't talk much when I'm painting. Kind of just feeling the vibe. 90% of the time it's because I'm holding my breath. Any of you guys do that when you're concentrating, you hold your breath? Right, now I think we'll take the airbrush and shadow it. I could come in here and just kind of soften this up a little bit. Kind of get rid of the brush strokes. Okay, I want to call that done. Yeah, we have a couple more to do, and then we'll get right back on it. We got this whole other side to do. This side has a bigger skull and more bones, and then we got the hood to do. That'll be fun. Alright, I have this side all traced out. So I'm just going to go ahead and get into it. Okay, mixing up a medium gray. So I'm just kind of sketching this out. I have kind of a drawn template of what I'm going with to get an idea, but I'm also sketching on a whole bunch of different stuff. Just kind of adding to it. I'm not used to using a brush, and I figured I could put the midtones on with this and then come in with the airbrush and maybe do some highlights and some shadowing. Figure it can't hurt. Let's get some of the color on with this and then go from there. All right, now I got to clean out my brush and come in with white, or not white. We do a light gray. So I'll take some white, get that reduced down. All right, now I'm going to mix up some airbrush colors. We're going to mix up, I guess I'll do dark to light and then I'll do light to dark. So actually I'll just make 2 airbrushes. I think I'm going to use my Sotars tonight. So as you can see, I'm just kind of shadowing, darkening up everything. Because we'll come back over it all. I like the way the airbrush softens up the brush strokes and kind of makes them slightly disappear. Still too much pressure. Might have over-reduced it a little too much. Means it'll be perfect for doing this type of stuff. I think the white is too harsh. I'm going to add a little bit of black into it. That's a little better. Okay, now I'm going to go in with a brush and do a little dark gray. Okay, so I've gone over it black, white, black, white, black, white. And now I'm going to go over it with just a little bit of black in the airbrush. Just to soften up some of the brush strokes. But I don't want to overdo it. I'm also going to add the shadowing in, because certain ones are going to kind of be soft over the other ones. I notice there's a little bit of cleanup to do here. So we could take a little bit of acetone. Since the silver's cleared, I don't have to worry about hurting it. We can go ahead and clean all this up. It's the advantage of clear coating. You know, I clear coated it, so I protected it. All right, now we can come in with the shadow and shadow these bones onto the lower color. This is kind of what makes it not look stickerish. All right. Now I could go with a brush and just brush in a couple highlights. I don't know if I need to. But if there's any like dark areas, let's see what's an area that would actually get real bright highlight. Something like this bone, this bone. Now the highlights I'm doing, I'm just kind of doing dots. I don't want to really get any lines in here. And I think I'm going to call that done. Any more and it's going to take away from it, I think. Just don't know if this bone here should have a little bit of highlight coming off of it. Alright, I'm going to call that side done. So now I get to clean up all the paint brushes, airbrushes, and all that. And then on the other side, so I think that side's a lot brighter than that side. So I might throw some more highlights in on this, but I kind of like the darker look on the silver. So I'll go in and shadow this side up a little. Let's do that before we clean out the airbrushes. Okay, now we're coming with the white. We'll just do kind of the dot thing that we did on the other one. All right, I think that looks a little closer to that. So this cool little stand for my phone, little tripod on it, worked out perfect for holding the hood. So I'm going to set this up and start working on it. Make sure everybody can see as much as they can. I know it's difficult with airbrushing and dealing with all that. I got to turn it to where you guys can see, but I also have to be able to get on it and you guys can see the camera right here. Hopefully that's picking up enough. I can see it is, but it looks kind of dark on my Bluetooth thing. I think I'll go in with the airbrush first. Feeling a little crazy today. Let's start with the airbrush. Definitely start with some glasses on because this is pretty small. All right, let's mix up. You gotta stop using the term "all right." It's one of my crutch words. I have a couple of those, huh? Do you guys have crutch words, is what they call it? Let me know in the comments down below. Words that you guys kind of constantly use without realizing you're using it, without even thinking about it. It's not a bad thing, but when you watch a video and you're constantly saying it, turns out to be annoying. And the other parts I did this with the paintbrush. This one I think I'll go with the airbrush. Just gotta see what I can get done. So basically, as you can see, I'm just kind of sketching it out. Have it drawn in, now I'm just kind of filling in. I'm going to leave this color in that airbrush. And I'm going to switch over to a paintbrush. Throw a little bit of black down here. A little bit of white. I'm going to drag the brush in the white and then kind of mix it in the black. I want a pretty dark gray for our outline. I'm going to go ahead and outline everything, and then I'll come back in and highlight it. I'm switching over to a lighter gray. Just to add in some details. It's a perfect time for me guys to for me to ask you to hit that like and subscribe button. It helps other people find the channel. And I think it also helps YouTube promote the channel, right? Not positive on that, but that's how I think this all works. I just want to be able to show people what I do and be able to help people out that are trying to do this on their own. If I have a different idea or they have a different idea, we could all work together. It's all about making some cool art. And if you guys have better ways of doing this or comments on different ideas on doing this, it'd be awesome. whatever you guys can post down there. There's a reason why there's a comment section, right? You guys know of different paint brushes or different paints or whatever your guys' knowledge is. Let's share it. It'd be awesome. Like I said, I'm new to a brush. I'm pretty fluent with the airbrush. But on this small detail stuff like this, it's kind of different to use a paintbrush. And it does give a completely different look. So it's kind of cool to me. Okay, now let's take the airbrush and go in there and soften this all up. Get rid of some of those brush strokes, and I want the texture to be underlined in these skulls. The brush kind of makes them a little too harsh, but with the airbrush going over the top of it, it knocks it down just enough to where it looks like it's texture, not a brush stroke. To give you guys an idea of the size, this is my cell phone case, fits in there sideways. So we're not doing with a big area. Okay, now I'm going to come in with that lighter color again. I think I have to. It must be hot out because my paints are drying up pretty quick. I think I might have wanted to go in with black first, but and I say black, but it's not. It's a super dark gray. I'm having to just use the tip of the brush for these teeth and stuff because the brush is way too thick. I don't have any good detail brushes, I guess. This is a 10-aught. I don't know if they make smaller. I think they make it like a 20-aught. I'm sure they make smaller. On the silver, anything's going to pop, so this is angled here on the hood, so you got to really watch your angle with the brush. So now we're just kind of punching out details. I'll go back in with a dark color, black, on the as far as airbrushing, just to darken up the shadows and kind of bring it a little more to life. But I do want some hard lines on these skulls. All right, I'm going to put some black in the airbrush. All right, now I'm going to come in with the light gray. basically a whitish color. And just kind of pop out some details on it. Just want to make sure the brush is not too fat. So let's do something that can afford to be a little fat. To me, it's not quite light enough, but I think I'll do this and then I'll come back over it with some brighter white. What I want to kind of do is almost get rid of that black line on the top edge. So that way it looks like the bone is just right up against that silver. Something you can't do when you're painting a complete car or a Harley. You just sit there and flip it over. Let's finish up on this color and then I can switch over to a little bit brighter white. And then do some highlights. Because this is still kind of like a mid-tone color, which is great for going in and adding detail and not standing out real bad. But it doesn't really punch stuff out like a highlight would. This is way too wet of a brush. Let's mix up a little bit brighter white. I'm just going to add white to that gray that I was using. Now this is only going to go in a couple areas. We can't go too much on this. And let's de-wet that brush. You can see how that looks almost bright white. And it's not. It's on the table. It's pretty gray. But I just want to pop out some highlights. Kind of make it stand out a little more. This has been great painting with you guys. So glad you're on the channel, hanging out with me while I'm painting. I might come back in with the black and just kind of hit some of these areas. Just kind of lessen the brightness. Okay, I'm starting to like this. What are you guys thinking? Okay, I still have black in the airbrush, so I'm going to shadow up some of this. I don't like how bright that looks. With that really dark gray in there, it doesn't take much. It goes pretty quick. You gotta make sure you don't go too dark. Alright, let's take that brush and see what we can do with the brush. A couple little more highlights and call it good. Alright, we're going to call that done. So, hopefully you guys can see that well. I can't tell. I'm looking at my thing and it just looks black. Hopefully the coloring's not wrong on that. I'll take some detailed photos of it when I get done and put those up so you guys can kind of look to see what we're doing if it did turn out all black looking. Okay, so we have the car done and the hood, which look very similar. So I'm going to go ahead and clean up the paintbrush, the airbrushes, and then I'll take some photos and I'll clear coat it, and we'll have some pictures of it all clear coated also. So thank you guys very much for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe, and any type of comment you guys can leave helps out the channel. It also helps other people find our YouTube videos, which make it to where I can teach more, and I love teaching. So if you guys would like to help me out, that would be awesome. It might help somebody else out also, or at least show them what not to do. So we'll talk to you guys soon.